It's the Score North Twin Show.
All right, what's the panic meter, Judd? They lost one to the Yankees. Everything's derailing.
The panic meter for the overall state of the Twins is a 1, so it's basically non-existent.
Okay.
The panic meter for the outfield with Castro in center and Martin in left is a 9.5.
It's DEFCON 1.
That's an old school Disco Dan Ford, Willie Norwood, Hoskin Powell, Bombo Rivera. I mean, that's some bad outfield play. And Chris Paddack, Dex can confirm this because I was only listening to the game last night, but I felt like Chris Paddack deserved better than what he got because of that.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I thought, and actually it's a good segue because
are we getting into Dex dishes right now?
Yeah, it's a good segue.
It's our notebook.
That's what I'm paid
here.
to do. Great segues. That's why I'm a professional.
So we'll do an Immaculate Grid, by the way. The Twins are on the grid today. But yeah, this is Dex Dishes. He's going to empty his notebook, our resident beat podcaster on the ground at Target Field.
So going into the start, we talked a little bit about this and write that down, but going into the start yesterday and just the games overall against the Yankees, I thought yesterday was going to be the hardest chance to win. Number one, the Yankees just are really good, and their lineup is insane, and they were throwing Rodon, a lefty, against a right-handed lineup for the Twins, which is not optimal. And then they, in general, if the Twins are facing a lefty starter who is even just average or slightly above it, they're going to lose about 70% of those games. Like, they're going to lose more than half of those games because their lineup is obviously very left-handed heavy. But on Paddock, there was a discussion I saw on the internet, and I think this actually started from our guys at Talkin' Baseball, on Talkin' Yanks especially. So John Boy put out a video on Talkin' Yanks before the game yesterday about Paddock has some tells with tipping his pitches.
Interesting.
Really?
He noticed a couple things with his glove. If it's a fastball, it's more up here. If it's a curveball, he tends to bring his glove in a little bit more in his windup.
Wow.
And Paddock was asked about this yesterday of, hey, there was some discussion on you potentially tipping pitches. Was that something that was that you were aware of or that you were being communicated on? And he said, I had absolutely no idea what that would be. Wasn't part of the game plan, wasn't a discussion. But, dude, the Yankees were all over him yesterday. And there was, Aaron Judge had 115-mile-an-hour line out by it. It wasn't even a hit, but they were rocking him early yesterday. And there was a couple sun balls. There was a couple defensive miscues. I'm not excusing the outfield defense because it was atrocious yesterday. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say the outfield defense was the main reason they lost. It was part of it. But Chris Paddack had some obvious tells, and the Yankees are a really good lineup, and they were all over him yesterday.
I wonder if that had, so on the broadcast last night, they mentioned at the outset, Dex, that Paddock had gone back to the blue glove.
Yeah.
So he's got a couple of gloves. Mm-hmm. I wonder if, I mean, total spitball here from what you just said, could that have to do, because, he's not going to acknowledge he's tipping. So, he probably knows it, but he's not going to tell the reporters, hey, John Boy found me out, man. I'm tipping all over the place. I wonder if the glove change might have, or going back to the blue glove, might have had to do with the positioning. I don't know. Just a thought.
So this is interesting because I was going to ask him about this yesterday. There's some times where I feel, as I'm early into my beat podcasting and locker room and post-game access days, where I have an idea of a question to ask a player, but then the performance happens, and I'm like, let me pocket that question and maybe ask it at a different date. Circle back. You're
learning a lot about the human element. These are human beings that,
So Paddock, I'll just say this. Paddock is just a very stylistic dude. He shows up dressed like a Western sheriff for each of his starts. Whatever the giddy-up is, as in their uniforms, he will match it. His glove will match. If they're wearing the whites with the red lettering, he'll have the red glove and the red stirrups on. Yesterday they had the blue, or the darker ones with the Minnesota red across it, so he wore the blue glove with the blue stirrups. He also has a very sparkly red belt when he wears the whites with he just always is swagging out a little bit on the mound. So I wanted to ask him, I was like, is that just, do you like to look good? Is that just to match the uniforms, which I don't have any issue with? But then at the end of the day, to Judd's point, if there's been some with a different color glove, if people are picking up on some stuff, maybe that is the case. I do want to ask him a little bit more about like his uniform decisions, because the guy clearly does have a sense of fashion and style, and I like that. But it is interesting that, yeah, he was basically, the Yankees were all over him for a good reason yesterday, and I think he was tipping his
I want to know, like, what is the best way to craft this series of questions to Chris Paddack?
I know.
Hey, buddy. Hey, guy.
That was another thing I shelved, because I was like,
non-starting day, right? Like that's actually not a bad thing to ask if he's between starts.
Do you feel like you're too focused on your fashion and not enough on your fastball?
Yeah.
Do you like
so I was trying to
here
figure out, like,
Minnesota?
hey, I just noticed
it's not fashion
you changed up the glove. Is that just because you like to match the uniform? You know, I'll have to frame this in the right way. But yes, there was that cross early into the start, and I went back. The only reason I confirmed this is because I went back like on AP Images on one of our image websites, and I looked back at all of his previous starts, and I found the glove with the shirt, with the belt, with the jersey. Doing my investigative reporting there. Look at that.
Nice work. Baseball detective.
That's pretty good. Yeah. All right. What else you got in that notebook, Dex?
So I talked a little bit about this with Age yesterday, but little Byron Buxton update. So Buck will be in the lineup for the St. Paul Saints today. He will be playing in St. Paul today and tomorrow. Now, I'm going to guess that is a center field today and probably a DH tomorrow. I don't think they will go center with him, or he probably won't play 9 innings in both of those games in center field. Could be wrong on that, but they want to make sure he can stand out there. They want to make sure he can do his regular activities out there. He's got a chronic knee issue. With Buck, he played almost every single game before going on the IL. And honestly, I think like 95% of those starts came in center. I think there was just a handful, small little bit of DH starts. Something I want to ask Rocco about, is that plan going to change with Buck? Does that mean less starts in center field? Does that mean more DH days? Does that just mean more off days? They clearly went in to the start of the season with, if he's healthy, he's going to play center field, which I don't fault them for. But the dude does have a chronic knee issue that always flares up. So does the strategy on kind of, use the buzzword in sports right now, load management, start to creep in with Byron Buxton? What is their plan with him going forward? I still want to figure out a little bit more.
I mean, it's tough because they've done it both ways. The ultimate load management plan was last year where, hey, we're not going to put you in center field at all. You're going to be DHing and then doing whatever you need to do between plate appearances to get your body right, whether it's sitting, standing, jogging around in the tunnel, taking batting practice swings in the tunnel. So they've done it the extreme opposite. I think when I mean, to me, like, put him in center. Put him in center again, because Judd already brought up the outfield defense from yesterday. Like, you can only go so far with some of the dudes they're putting out there in these outfield spots. Like, a big part of the win streak, or the whatever it was, 15 wins in 17 games, is reliable defense. And the first part of that, anyway, is Byron Buxton, because he was out for the last like 10 days. But I might even, I know it's already too late. His name's probably already in the lineup for the Saints, but do we need to find out in St. Paul, or can we just put him back out in center field? And I could go either way on that. If we're going to be wasting bullets in St. Paul, why not put him out in the outfield at Target Field against the Yankees? Track down a couple fly balls. Yeah,
that's why I thought if he does do this 2-game rehab plan in St. Paul, I think just one of them includes a start in center field. Because I would be shocked if they did both of them. From a swing standpoint, it's not a swing. Like, but and I've been very clear on how I feel about him at the plate. But can he stand? And I know there's a lot of fans that are like, this is absolutely ridiculous. He's a 30-year-old man. He's an athlete. He should be able to stand just like any other athlete or person. But, dude, he's got a chronic knee issue. So
if a man can't stand, he can't fight.
And he has to be playing center field more often than not. So yeah, is that just riding it in until there's an issue, or do you now have to kind of mix things? You have to have him in October. Like, if that is the end that's the end goal. It's not playing a bunch of games in April against the Royals and everyone else.
But you also might need him to get to October.
Also, like, true.
They've got, they've done a nice job creating some separation, some padding. Baseball Reference has him at like an 88 or 90% chance to make the playoffs. But can you, from this point forward, if he sits for like 60 days or something because his knee doesn't react in St. Paul, can you get away with the other guys they're putting out in the outfield defensively and still make the playoffs at the end of the day? I think you need him to get to the 90 wins necessary to be in center field.
I got a couple things on this one for Buxton. First of all, when he originally went on the injured list, Rocco at that time made it very clear we're going to play him. Like this, the whole premise from the start of spring training, and I agree completely with this, is let's just find out. Like I literally think they are to the point now where, and he probably is too, where they will ride him into the ground. Like if this ends his career, it ends it. There's nothing that can be done. The kid gloves didn't work. This didn't work. So I do think that there is going to be, I don't think they're going to save him now. Like I think they tried that. It didn't work. It blew up. And so now they're to a point where they're basically going to say, hey, dude, if you can't play, you can't play. And that's probably it. But Dex, here's my second question. I want to talk about the replacements potentially for Buxton, because I mean, Byron Buxton being hurt is a given. Like no one's surprised by this. And I know that Michael A. Taylor in Pittsburgh is not hit. But in center field last year, he provided a defense that was as close to Buxton as you're possibly going to get. When they got Margot from the Dodgers, I thought originally we talked about the fact that he could play all three outfield spots and that he might be the backup in center there. And again, we knew that Buxton was not going to play an entire year. And Margot also has struggled at the plate quite a bit. But what's changed in the thinking? Because as far as I know, I don't think Margot has played in center at all. And like, how did we end up with a contending team getting caught with its pants down and Castro being the option in center when he's backing up a guy who is never going to play anywhere close to 162 games?
So on Margot, I believe he did in the last week. I think he made a start in center field.
Did he? Okay.
Let's see here. I believe against the Mariners on May 6th, he started in center and then I believe shifted to left. But he has almost exclusively played corners.
Okay.
You know what's interesting? I think Austin Martin actually profiles as a better center fielder, personally. I think there's a lot more of, like, Austin Martin, as what I've watched, he's a very athletic guy. I think what he lacks, which is a word Rocco has used a lot, is instincts. We've talked about that at first base a lot over the years with, the Donovan Solanos, the Kirilloffs. Now they have Carlos Santana, who's one of the better ones. That's the position we always sleep on because you just put someone there because you have to put someone there. But it's instincts at that position that are incredibly important, that are almost sometimes obviously unquantifiable until you just watch someone who's really good play that position. Mm-hmm. I actually wonder if Austin Martin profiles as a better center fielder. And he played a little bit of that so far. He's played a little bit in center with the Twins so far. But, I mean, yesterday, watching Castro, I mean, that was a journey. And I know the sun was poking through there in the first. It's awkward to a degree. But there was two 50-50 balls that aren't on Castro, but catches that Buxton makes. Like, those are outs Buxton makes. And they need a better replacement there in center field because, I mean, that is a position, by the way, center field, you can't skimp. You can't skimp on center field. I'm not saying you can skimp at first either, but center's obviously incredibly important. So that might be a priority, dude. Like, that might be a priority if Buxton's out. Do they find a better, legitimate center fielder defensive replacement for when Buxton can't play there?
Two things, just last thoughts on this, and we'll get to the rest of Dex's notebook here. But, that's the thing about Buxton is he makes a lot of catches over his career where they look like just routine. He's just kind of gliding into the gap and he makes a catch. But he's so fast and covers so much ground. He makes catches look routine that guys like Willi Castro or even Austin Martin, those guys have some wheels too, right? They can steal bases that those guys can't get to. And you see that difference. Also, I would say, with center field, with shortstop, those two positions in particular, number one starting pitchers, ace caliber starters, there's a lot more demand than supply when it comes to finding guys. There's a lot of teams that don't have good starting caliber shortstops and center fielders. And we're talking about finding a backup, like a fourth outfielder that can play. Now, Michael A. Taylor defensively, and he could hit some home runs, was really good last year. Seemed like he was pretty affordable at like $4.5 million on a 1-year deal at Pittsburgh. He's been terrible for Pittsburgh so far. So maybe it's possible they were right about Michael Taylor. And also Margot wasn't what they thought and clearly hasn't played much center field. But I guess what I'm saying is it's not, they need a better option as a fourth outfielder in center field. There aren't that many, though. That's the problem. Organizationally, it'd be nice to have a couple guys that could slide in, but it's a position that most teams are looking to upgrade at, center field, and Twins are no different. So, anything else in your notebook before we get to the Twins on the grid here, Dax?
Yeah, obviously Justin Topa, he has a tear in his patellar muscle in his in his leg, excuse me.
It's not
partial
good.
tear.
It's bad news.
25% tear. He opted for PRP and rehab to not. If he did the surgery, he would have been out for the year.
Okay.
It's under his belief that if he does the PRP and the rehab, that he can still come back to pitch for the Twins. I want to pull this up just so I have it. I believe, though, after the PRP injection, he is shut down for 6 weeks. So 6 weeks from now, that's obviously about July 1st. And then you're probably talking about a throwing ramp-up period. So best case scenario, August 1st, which is probably more mid-August to September at this point to see Justin Topa.
So if this is still, if they get done with the 6 week period and it's still a problem, is surgery performed then?
Could be.
I
He
mean,
was on, he had a brace on, and I believe crutches yesterday too. So, I mean, he's shut down for 6 weeks. And I mean, he volunteered the info that he dealt with it near the end in Seattle, not to this extreme, obviously, because he was still able to pitch and be effective.
But the usage caught up to him last year
Probably.
and then is playing a role. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And with the state of the Twins bullpen, having more top-heavier guys than the lower leverage guys, kind of struggling a little bit, adding Topa to that mix was supposed to kind of help, obviously, slide everyone down a peg, and you have more of a deeper bullpen, and maybe Louis Varland joins it, right? So that's now one extra piece that is out of your bullpen. I mean, Stewart's still out too. We'll see if he's going to be able to rehab here soon and get back to the Twins maybe by June. But Topa and Brock Stewart were supposed to be, high leverage, high usage guys, and they're without Stewart for these next couple weeks, and they'll potentially without Justin Topa for maybe the season.
Yeah, a couple other notes on that, because that was the Polanco trade, right? Polanco's off to a really rough start offensively with the Mariners. He's batting like $190, on base percentage below 300, not a ton of power yet. So he hasn't exactly been tearing the cover off the ball. The centerpiece of that trade, coming back to the Twins. Now, Topa was like the major league ready piece to come in and be a big part of the bullpen. And it's unfortunate. Now, if they can get him back for a stretch run, okay, that'd be nice. But Gabriel Gonzalez, he was 19 years old, I believe, at the time that the Twins made that trade. And he's the outfielder that was kind of the centerpiece. So in the first 20 games for High A Cedar Rapids in the Twins organization, off to a decent start, 10 extra base hits and 73 trips. His OPS is just under 800, so he's hitting the ball pretty well. But that's the centerpiece guy to keep an eye on in that Polanco trade. Does he continue to climb up the ladder in the minor league system? But for this year, Justin Topa was supposed to be like your fourth best reliever, and it's just another like damaged goods pitcher that comes over in a trade. Add him to the list, going back to Sam Dyson from a few years ago.
It's remarkable. So, Dex, as far as your potential deadline shopping list now goes, okay? Mm-hmm. With the Topa injury being known, what's your shopping list positionally now, or spots in like the bullpen?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of getting high leverage relievers. I know Jorge Lopez didn't work out for the Twins, but I mean, Mason Miller's been incredible for the Athletics. Now he's probably going to he's under like team control for years. This is only his second year in the big leagues, but like the Oakland A's aren't going to be competitive for a long time. So they would be wise to probably ask for the farm and just shop him in general. I think a high leverage reliever, I mean, look, if Buck can't play center field, do you make a call about like a Kevin Kiermaier in Toronto, who is off to a bad start? Do you try to bring back Michael A. Taylor as a legitimate option in center too? I would probably put them third, just a decent right-handed bat, because if they play a lefty in the postseason, good luck.
That's
like
interesting.
That's gonna be tough for them. That lineup, when it has to start a left-handed, I mean, I get why Ryan Jeffers leads off, because it's literally Jeffers, Correa, just a drop off after that against lefties. Kepler's actually hit lefties pretty good this year. He didn't start yesterday, but they need probably a right-handed bat would be just a good insurance policy for them when they would have to face a lefty starter.
Yeah. So, all right, there's Dex Dishes.
Good stuff, man.
Dex's notebook. You can find the extra innings episodes too sprinkled in throughout each week from Target Field, even when the Twins are on the road. Dex is actually going to be in Cleveland this weekend too. So a big week for the Score North Twin Show, the Score North Twin Show YouTube channel, which we just launched a few weeks back. We're almost to 3,000 subscribers, I believe. So please click that subscribe button on the Score North Twin Show YouTube channel. The Twins are on the grid, and we're going to get to that here in a second, but we talked about Byron Buxton doing a couple games on a rehab stint with the St. Paul Saints. Well, you can get tickets to Saints games and look at a full schedule by going to saintsbaseball.com, the official Minnesota Twins AAA affiliate, one of the finest minor league ballparks in the entire country, and a great place to have fun. Thirsty Thursdays featuring $2 beers, 2-for-1 seltzers. Sundays are family days at the park. Kids can run the bases after the game at all 10 Sunday family games. And this weekend, a bunch of fun things happening at the ballpark. Long Duck Dong from 16 Candles is going to be in the house. Great 80s movie. Friday Night Fireworks, Royce Lewis bobblehead giveaway on Saturday, Dog Day on Sunday, saintsbaseball.com.
Take the Vinster.
Oh, he'd be in heaven. He would, that berm would just, there'd be laps and laps and laps, zoomy laps around that berm in left field there.
Just running around like a goof. Hopefully he doesn't get into an unexpected accident. But if he does, the Vinster can contact our friends at Nicolay Law, the official exclusive personal injury law firm of the Score North Twin Show. So, if you got some sort of unexpected injury and the insurance companies are pressuring you, they're coming after you, that's where Russell Nicolay and his team are there to help you. Get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY, nicolaylaw.com or 1-855-NICOLAY. Baseball. Okay, boys, it's time for the Immaculate Grid Challenge here. If you're new to the Score North Twin Show, we'll talk you through how we do these grids. This is a fun one here. So we're looking to fill in 9 squares. For the YouTube audience, you can see it on your screen. For the Spotify and Apple audience, we will explain this. We're looking for a twin who was a Tiger, a twin who had a 6 wins above replacement season, a twin who had 10-plus wins, a pitcher with 10-plus wins. And then we're looking for a Pirate who was a Tiger, a Pirate with a 6-plus WAR season, a Pirate with 10-plus wins, and a Red Sox who was a Tiger, a Red Sox with a 6 WAR season, and a Red Sox with 10-plus wins in the season. Just for some context here, so for those who aren't like obsessive over wins above replacement, like maybe Declan and I have been in our lives, a 6-win season, like a 6 wins above replacement season would be like MVP caliber players are kind of like 8, 9, 10 wins above replacement. I think when Justin Morneau won his MVP, it was like in that 6.5, 7 wins above replacement range.
An all-star is, I think, kind of like a 5+ WAR is typically like an all-star level player.
Yep.
That's like the floor.
Like a starting pitcher. Relievers have a hard time getting to 5 or 6 wins above replacement. But think about the best starting pitching seasons in club history, the best position player seasons in club history. For position players, wins above replacement definitely leans toward premium defensive positions too. So like center fielders, shortstops, catchers, et cetera, et cetera. We're looking for the most obscure answers for all of these so we can get a low rarity score too. So, Judd, where do you want to start on the grid today?
Let's start with Tigers Twins.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy in the 80s who came up with the Tigers and was phenomenal for a very short period of time, and he ended up with the Twins. His name was Chris Paddack. I don't know if you can find him or not, but that's one.
Clete Thomas is my favorite modern one. Well, I covered
That's a good one too. Yeah, that
Adam Everett also did Adam Everett also go to the Tigers before or after?
Yeah, I think he did.
Adam Everett he was Astros, Tigers, Twins. In kind of.
Clete Thomas, did you ever talk to Clete in the clubhouse, Phil?
Was his dad?
Yeah, I don't think he blinked.
He would stare. He was Topayan, like Thomas Topa. He would stare through. Yes, It
Phil
was
Nevin,
really weird.
Phil Nevin came up on the Plouffe episode yesterday as guys who celebrated wildly in a clubhouse in which they really didn't play much in the run. He was a Tiger. And obviously a twin in 2006.
Yep.
But I mean, Judd just listed someone from the 80s that I've never heard of. So unless Tigers fans would put him on that list.
Yeah, I don't think so. I also think like Cleat Thomas would be really, really low as well. So I got no problem with that one either.
Let's go
Cleat Thomas.
Yeah,
It's
that's
Clete.
It just stares right through you.
Cleat Thomas.
There you go.
Point
Yeah.
three.
Point
Yeah,
three.
look at those
Let's
eyes.
go, dude.
I know those eyes were like, I was like, dude, are you okay?
These eyes.
And then I just ran away. And then I just ran. Like, okay, see you bye.
These eyes have seen a lot of
Things that I'm never gonna see another woman like I have. Okay.
So six win seasons would be the
I'm gonna leave this up to you guys.
all-star caliber seasons. Like when Joe Mauer's MVP year.
Radke?
I was gonna ask, are there any pop-up ones?
Absolutely, Brad Radke in like the late 90s, the year that he won, because he won 20 games in a year.
Yep.
It's funny because like sometimes you think of pitchers in the late 90s, early 2000s as all being crappy because they had bad ERAs, but the whole league had a bad ERA. So it's how you performed relative to the league. And Brad Radke for like 3 or 4 years was actually one of the better pitchers in baseball. And I believe we've used him before on the.
Yeah.
There was like a 5 or a 6 WAR category that we have used him before. Camilo Pascual had a couple huge
I was gonna
seasons.
ask you
Jim
this.
Perry won a Cy Young Award back in the day.
In '65, when he won the AL MVP, would Zoilo have been 6+?
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out.
That's a great example. And he was a shortstop, so you get
That's
the
what I'm
position
saying.
value.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do know, I believe Zoilo has like one of the lowest WARs for an MVP player, though.
Okay.
Morneau did too.
And Morneau did too. Even like, I know he's recent, but I think like Sonny Gray was potentially a 6 WAR player last year.
Mm-hmm. I believe. I think you. So I'm a Fangraphs WAR guy, and I believe Sonny Gray was like
reference.
a 6. This is Baseball Reference WAR, which is a little bit of a different formula.
Yep.
But Sonny Gray was second in Cy Young. Generally, if you're like second in Cy Young voting and you pitched 30 starts, you probably had a WAR over.
Jim Perry, to go back to that, would be a good score here, right? I mean, I don't think Jim Perry's
Old school is going to be our friend here. Like Camilo Pascual was one of the best pitchers for a few years, and then Jim Perry was a Cy Young guy and got votes. Blyleven would certainly fit this as an old school guy.
Did Jack probably do it in his 1 year? Jack Morris?
I don't know.
He was really good.
Did Viola?
We don't get to count that game.
Viola for sure.
Yeah, he won a Cy.
That could be a good one.
Viola could also work. He had a couple really good seasons with Boston after he left the Twins. I don't know that he didn't like win a Cy Young though.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would lean toward old school on this.
Okay.
So either I mean, Blyleven's probably too popular, but Jim Perry won a Cy Young Award, and did Camilo win a Cy Young too?
I don't think so. Okay. Perry's going to be, if that's right for 6+, he definitely is going to be low. As far as
and those, by the way, the old school guys are even more likely because they pitched more innings and they made more starts.
You know why? Because they're real men.
Should I pull the trigger here?
Let's do it. I'm pretty confident in this one.
0.2.
Okay.
Nice.
0.2%.
10+ wins.
So this is a fun one because this is like, I mean, like Nick Blackburn had like back-to-back 12 whatever.
I've got an
seasons.
old school bullpen guy here because they used to just bring those guys in and throw them until their arm fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Marshall, who actually as a reliever, I think won a Cy Young with the Dodgers, pitched if you go back and look at his innings pitched, it's stupid, but he once won at least 10 games as a Twin.
And you're
confident
you're sure about that?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Mike Marshall.
Just for some fun other names, there was the 1 year of Scott Diamond.
I think Perk once had like a 10-6 and a 5 ERA season when he was a failed starter. Like he won 10 games.
Yeah, I could He was a starter in like 06 or 07 or something.
Yeah.
Joe Mays had that pop-up year
Ooh, Joe Mays.
where he was an all-star, right?
Kyle Loesch ever do it with the Twins? He was better
Probably.
after the Twins.
Might
But
have.
Probably. Bob Tewksbury, did he get 10 wins?
As a twin, I don't think so.
Okay. That's the problem. Like, he pitched on those mid-90s teams
Yeah, they
where
brought
if the
in-
team isn't winning a lot of games, it gets kind of risky.
And he was sort of a slappy by then.
Alan Anderson.
He was great with the Cardinals, yeah.
I think Blackburn, Slowey, or Judd's
Mike Marshall.
guy.
Mike Marshall. If you're confident in this
I'm
Mike
confident
Marshall
in Mike
character, okay.
Character. You go look at his resume.
Didn't
I think he
Jesse
was a
Crane do it once?
Which one?
Oh no.
That
dude.
first one. 67
67 to
to
81?
81.
You're
The
sure?
second
The
one
other
was
one.
a first baseman
Okay.
and a former Dodger.
Okay.
Mike Marshall.
0.08.
0.08, dude.
Dudley.
Mike
Dude.
Marshall.
So we're sitting at like a 0.5% going into these other categories.
Pirates, Tigers, Lariano.
Yeah. Liriano would also work. Hold on, though. He would also work for the 10 plus
10 plus
wins.
win.
Although we could probably think of a lot of random ass
Pirates, yes.
Pirates pitchers that have won 10 games in a season.
Yes.
We should definitely, we should use Liriano for one of these.
Did Morneau go to the Tigers? White Sox for sure. Did
White
he
Sox,
play?
Pirates, Rockies.
White Sox, Pirates, Rockies, Twins.
He was never a Tiger as far as I
Never a
remember.
Tiger.
Let's go Liriano.
Lariano?
Let's do it. I don't think people remember him much as a Tiger, but
No. 5.
Oh, it's higher than I thought it would be.
it was higher.
Me too.
All right.
So for the Pirates' 6 WAR seasons, it feels like the Pirates have had a lot of bad teams and players. The one guy that I remember from, he's a Minnesota guy. Denny Nagel had like a huge season for the Pirates.
Yep.
He might have won the Cy Young or got close. Doug Drabeck was a really good pitcher for them. I'm thinking on the pitcher side here.
Yep.
Was it? I always get these guys mixed up. Was it Carlos Lee who was the first baseman? Carlos Lee, right?
Well, wait a second. Carlos Lee was.
He was with the Astros. Who was? I'm thinking he was with the Marlins and the Pirates. Carlos.
Was it Carlos Lee with the White Sox too? He was with the Pirates though for a minute. Derek Lee.
Derek Lee,
That's
okay.
when
They might have both actually, but played for the Pirates. Derek Lee was a good.
a
Aramis
really good
Ramirez
player.
too. Before he went to the, I don't know if Aramis. This is where it gets dicey because it's like
Tony Pena, who caught for him.
could be.
And
What about
was-
Benito Santiago? Wasn't he a Pirate?
I don't
What
remember
about
him as a
the
Pirate.
brotherly love World Series teams?
Andy Van Slyke might have. I mean Barry Bonds for sure.
We Are Family.
We are
Willie,
family. Yeah,
Willie
yeah.
Stargell, Phil Garner. I'm trying to think of who else. was really
McCutcheon
good
will
on
be
that team.
the number one for this.
Yeah,
because he's modern. Okay.
Clemente will be high despite the
Clemente
fact
will be
he's
high.
been
Bobby,
dead for 50
Barry
years.
Bonds. Oh, what about Bobby? Did Bobby play for the Pirates? Bobby was a
God.
giant, right?
Yeah, he played.
was
for,
largely a
He
giant.
might have been a Pirate too. He played for like 8 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, Van Slyke you mentioned, Phil.
Andy Van Slyke because he was a
really good
center
there.
fielder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get the premium position value
Some
there.
Pirate shortstops.
Boy, the Pirates are just the last like 30 years.
Yeah, they've been.
Ugh. I am on the pitching side. Again, like Denny Nagel was
Or
lights
Drabeck.
out for them for a couple years.
AJ Burnett, before he went to the Yankees, had a couple good pop up. He definitely won 10 plus games. I don't know if he did a 6 WAR.
Ooh,
That's good.
Might have been a 6 WAR guy, but definitely won 10 games before he went to the Yankees.
I mean, Blyleven's going to be popular, right?
Oh, you guys, you know what? I am pretty confident in this because I had him in fantasy baseball when he was a starter. Zach Duke used to
10
was
plus
a
wins.
starter. I think he got. I'm pretty sure he got 10 plus wins.
I don't know for sure, but that's a good. Hold on, let's think about. So are we going to the 10 plus win thing here? Because we could rattle off. John Lieber was.
Yeah. John Candelaria back in the day. Yeah, there's a lot of choices for that.
Former Twin. This is 90s. There was a Twins pitcher named Todd Ritchie who went to. Well, John Smiley would work too. John Smiley, Todd Ritchie in the 90s was good. Chris Benson, remember his wife, the supermodel gal?
I
Anna
once
Benson?
drafted him in the secondary phase of a rotisserie draft in the minor leagues because I think he was the
Chris
first
Benson?
pick in his draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the first overall pick in like the 91 or 92 draft.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we just threw out a
All right.
ton of Pirates there.
Let's pull some trigger on some squares here.
Yep.
Okay, for 10 plus wins, Todd Ritchie had a couple big seasons with the Pirates, and he was a former Twin. I think we're pretty good on Todd Ritchie.
Richie.
Yeah.
0.1.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
That old Pirates logo. I love that Pirates logo.
Okay. We need to pull the trigger on the pitcher that I am most confident in is Denny Nagel. If you guys have any others but he also is probably going to be 5% or
I'm good with it.
maybe higher. I don't know. Okay.
Should we do it?
Denny NEA. Then he do a big contract with the Rockies or something. I feel like his career.
We got traded to the Braves.
NEA Nagel. I see.
Yep.
It's like, what? Denny Nagel.
The Pirates, I think, dealt him to the
0.1.
Braves.
0.1.
0.1?
That's back when he was fat. Dude lost a lot of weight.
Holy cow, dude! That's a much lower score than I would have thought. Okay.
All right, well, that makes up for that.
So we're looking for Red Sox Tiger, Red Sox 6+ WAR, Red Sox 10+. A lot of opportunities here because the Red Sox literally go back to like.
Did Marwin Gonzalez play for the Tigers? He went to the Red Sox, I think, after the Twins.
And the Yankees.
Yankees.
I don't know who played for the Tigers.
Fernando Rodney, was he a Red Sox?
Major League Baseball Players Association president Tony Clark.
Mark Fidrich, right? Didn't Mark Fidrich and didn't the Bird end up with the Red Sox at the end?
The Bird.
Bird.
Rick Porcello is going to be one that
Porcello be
probably
high.
hits the high notes here.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you one more too from the movie Moneyball. The book is better, by the way. It's about the only time I can say that. Carlos Pena was one of the guys that the A's. I think did the A's trade him and then they replaced him with Scott Hatteberg? But
yeah,
Carlos Pena was A's, Red Sox, and Tigers in his career. I feel like Porcello is going to be high because he was like a top prospect, and
he won a Cy Young with Boston too.
Yep. Tony
Who
Clark,
was,
Carlos Pena,
the Bird,
Mark Fidrich.
I think I want to say he finished with the Sox, but I don't want to jeopardize. It's not worth jeopardizing the grid for.
We could come back to this. I mean, the amount of Red Sox for 6+ WAR is endless. I mean, it's a parade of just ridiculous players.
Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, Carl Yastrzemski,
Noma, Pedroia.
Yeah. Clemens, Schilling,
Veritek,
Lefty Grove, if you want to go old school. Ted Williams.
Lefty Grove.
Veritek was a catcher, a really good hitting catcher. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. I don't think Trot Nixon was good enough for a 6 WAR.
Jacoby Ellsbury, did he play enough?
Oh yeah. He was.
Pedroia probably had a
New
6
York.
WAR season.
I feel like we should go old school on this one, right?
Cy Young.
Yeah.
For a 6 WAR.
For either one. He's the
Yeah.
wins leader too. Is that too? But he's like one of the most famous. He's
I think
Cy
Lefty.
Young.
I think your Lefty Grove one is better
Grove?
for really old school stuff.
Lefty Grove. If you want to go Lefty Grove, we can go Lefty Grove.
Okay.
He's like a Hall of Famer from.
0.3.
Oh, nice,
Wow!
yeah.
Wow!
That's good.
Look
A
at
lot
that
of people
picture,
don't
by
know
the way.
Lefty Grove. Lefty kicks some ass. Look, that looks like a guy
screw
who
with that guy.
gets done with the game, goes to the bar and starts a fight.
with a bottle of vodka.
Just cold cock some poor schlap.
Bronson.
Lefty, you suck.
Bronson Arroyo.
Oh
was
yeah,
a 10+
this
WAR
is
guy.
another
Wakefield.
Clay Buchholz.
Clay Buchholz. There's a lot of options here.
Derek Lowe.
Derek Lowe, Cone.
Did Dennis Eckersley, his starter version,
the
Dennis
starter.
Eckersley?
Frankie
yeah.
Viola?
Viola for sure. Viola Viola was very good with the Red Sox when I was a kid.
But
after he left the
I
Twins,
feel like he's even like lesser than maybe even like Bronson Arroyo even. Like
Arroyo's going to be high because he played for like some of those popular Red Sox teams.
So that's why like maybe
Hideo Nomo went through Boston.
Oh, Daisuke.
Daisuke.
He was
Who are some other guys? Who are some
What was
older
the ball?
school guys?
The gyro ball?
The
gyro ball. Yeah, I forgot about the gyro ball. 8 pitches, right? For Daisuke?
something like that. Yeah.
Was it 8? God.
It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Not a sweeper, though. Wasn't invented yet.
No, he wasn't that good back then.
So, again, like 10 wins is, especially the older school you go. So, Judd, if there's guys from like the 70s, 80s that.
In 1978, in the one-game playoff against the Yankees, they started a guy named Mike Torres who had also pitched for the Yankees. Mike Torres is, and I mean, I'm just guessing he wouldn't have started the playoff game unless he had won 10 games. I mean, Eckersley was a starter, so you're right about that. I mean, he definitely would have won 10 games.
Did
at some point.
Aguilera start for the Red Sox, or was he?
He started,
closer?
yeah. No, I think he got traded because he said he wanted to start, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And the Twins started him for a year,
He
too.
closed here, and he closed in. Oh, no, you know what? No, maybe he came back here to start. That might have been the agreement when he came back.
Yeah, he was a
You might be
starter.
right.
Oh, gosh. Well, we rattled off a million names there, so.
We've been going a long time here. Let's pull a trigger on someone.
Okay.
The trip down memory lane with the Red Sox.
It is a fun trip down memory
Go
lane.
Sox.
Well, I mean, the two that Hideo Nomo went through Boston.
If he won 10, I'm fine with him. Or
Like in the
that's
middle, it was like he went from like Dodgers.
He pitched a no-no there in Boston.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Let's try it.
No more.
Again, it's 10 wins. Like these guys are making 33 starts on good teams.
Point four.
Nice.
Point
Okay.
4. Yeah, let's go.
Nice. All right.
Okay, and then somebody who's not Rick Porcello for this Boston. The names I threw out were Tony Clark, Carlos Pena. Declan threw out Marwin Gonzalez, but I'm not 100%.
I don't think he played for Detroit, but I might be.
I thought he might have been a Guardy guy.
Did he play for the Reds? I think he played for the Tigers, didn't he?
Well, he played for the Red Sox. He played for the Astros, the Twins, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and I don't remember him in Detroit, but that doesn't mean because he didn't play for Guardy here, right? He played for Rocco
Rocco
in 19. I think he was on the Bomba squad. I thought
He was in the Bomba squad. Yep, he was in the Bomba squad.
Anyway,
Okay. I mean, of the names that I threw out, I would say Carlos Pena is probably the best bet, but I don't know what
our score is pretty good. I mean, our score is damn good at this point, right?
It's really good. Yeah.
So
it's
like we could
under
take
10.
a 4%. So like we could take a 4%er
Yeah.
or a 3%er.
He was good, but like I don't know if it's be that high. Yoenis Cespedes. So he went from Oakland. He didn't really do much in Boston, but he went from Oakland to Boston, and then was in the middle of that Tigers order for a bit before he went to the Mets. But he played for both these teams.
Cespedes. Is Cespedes going to be more popular than Carlos Pena or Tony Clark?
If people remember, he was
More recent.
I don't remember him as a Red Sox. That's the only reason why.
And I don't remember him as a Tiger, but I do remember him as a Red Sox.
Yeah, he was in that 20. It was like Cabrera, Cespedes, JD Martinez. Like that was at a Murderer's Row. But
JD Martinez would work for this, but that's also going
that's
to be
also super popular.
very high. So I would say Dex, pick one of these names that
Let's run.
take a gamble on one of these names.
I'll go with Cespedes. Cespedes.
Cespedes.
Ooh, it was 11 rarity score. He was 4%.
Yeah, okay.
There we go, dude. That's a pretty good score, gentlemen. 11 on the rarity score. And we made up for whiffing on the last grid we had. Nice
God,
job.
the highest pirate tiger, or most popular, is 8%. That is a absurdly
Meadows?
low. Absurdly low.
How many were there? I mean, both those franchises have been around forever.
156.
Which actually isn't that many. Well,
That's
but
surprisingly low for the amount of time.
Yeah. Interesting. 194 Twins and Tigers.
I mean, Hank Greenberg, but 1 year there. Brandon Inge.
Oh, Inge.
Oh, Kyle Gibson. Oh, not our Kyle Gibson, a different Kyle Gibson.
From like the early 1900s or something.
Another tab. Yeah, like a 80s or a 70s Kyle gets
Good stuff here, boys. All right. There's your Immaculate Grid. The Score North Twin Show here. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button on the Score North Twin Show YouTube channel. Please do so. Help us grow this show as the Twins continue to rack up wins. Maybe they can win one against the Yankees here today. We will report back. See you guys next time.